Big Poppy, Clint Miller.
Ho, 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 Steve.
Ho, 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 here at the poorhouse. Alongside to my left, we got B-Rad.
What's up?
How far would you go?
I tried doing it with them, but I don't know. I got to grow a little bit bigger set before I can do that.
The time is near.
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Live from the Casa de Pork Chop Studios, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Stephen Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Hello, race fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network, our last edition of Turn 5 Live for the 2014 season. I'm your host, Steve Ovens, sitting alongside Clint Miller, B-Rad, pushing the buttons. We got Cougar down at our PMN studios down in Pennsylvania, taking care of making us sound great here live on Performance Motorsports Network tonight. Gentlemen, I'd do some introductions, but first introduction I got to get out of the way right off the bat is gentlemen joining us on the hotline. We're going to start off tonight's show with a man that everybody's been wanting to talk to lately, and that's none other than the promoter of the Yates County Speedway, Dan Harpell. Dan, welcome into Turn 5 Live. Always great to have you on the show, and appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk to us tonight.
Sure, it's good to be here. It's good to be part of the show, and I've been looking forward to it.
Well, before we even get ahead of ourselves and talk about future plans, 2015, why don't we start off talking a little bit about 2014? And first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't start by saying, congratulations to you and all three of your boys on completing your first year at Yates County. And I'm curious to know, where you kind of evaluate things after season one.
Well, I would say it was a very successful year, especially considering how late we got in and were able to, put things together in a short period of time, and it really, everything just kind of gelled really quickly, and that I was really proud of. And so, overall it was a very successful season, and I was really happy, really enjoyed myself, really liked everything about it, the community, the people that were working, and the drivers, the fans, everybody was, very gracious, and so it was a real good summer.
You guys kind of had a tough task right off the bat, taking over with, I think, Dan, it was like 5 weeks. You guys had to kind of get a staff together, get things ready, get acclimated with the track. Of course, Mother Nature intervened early on to kind of give you guys some more of that time to get comfortable with everybody. And I mean, was it past experience running racetracks and being in that business that kind of helped you guys along to kind of get up on your feet and show the stability that everybody was hoping to see?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've done it for a long time. It's been, 11 years since I promoted 5 Mile, but it's not like I left the business entirely. And it's like they say, it's like riding a bike. It really was, got right on it and picked up right where I left off. And so that definitely helped a lot, having the experience that I did, and having experienced people working for me was a big plus too, and having a nice mix of people that have been there in the past and new people, and that certainly made things go smooth as well. So it was as crazy as it was, as short term as it was to get everything up and running, and it was chaos there for a while. It was really amazing how quickly things came together.
I know that what I love about interviewing you, Dan, is every time we get to talk to you, whether it's a interview at the racetrack that we air later on, or it's here on Turn 5 Live, one of the things you always mention right away is the help of Tyler, Tucker, and Tanner, your boys, how instrumental they were in helping you run the racetrack. It's amazing to have gone through this season and see things that they just they automatically know what they need to do, when they need to do it, when they need to be there. So for somebody who had never worked with them before or seen them in action, it's really incredible to see them in action on race night.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I'm really proud of them. They literally have been around this their entire lives. And, when I was promoting 5 miles, that for several years there was a crib in my office, and because the kids were growing up, they were there every day. And so they've certainly been around it. They've seen everything, and they've been driving trucks since they were real little. And so they do. And I'll tell you, I agree. As far as some of the things that even surprised me, just they know what to do. It's just instinct, They've been doing track stuff for a long time, but so it was, on race days, I really had very little or nothing to do with the track prep. They did everything, and I know a lot of days Tanner would call me and from the track and say, "You better come out and look at it," and because I don't know, if it's any good. And I said, "I'm sure it's fine. Just trust your instincts. It'll be fine." And, because I was so busy and I really didn't get a chance to come out, and it would turn out good every week. And that's, as the season progressed, they certainly got more and more confident in the decision making. And there were times when I would, we'd be looking at the track before the break thinking, what are we going to do? And, what do we want to do tonight? And they would have a suggestion that I wouldn't have thought of, and I let them, I kind of just let them go with it, and I think they made the right call pretty much most of the time. So, I'm real proud of them.
Well, now as we complete year one, saw some of the greatest racing that I've seen there in a few years anyway. 3-4 wide at times when the drivers felt they needed to do it. They had a great racing surface to run on. But now, now we'll kind of address what you can of the purple elephant in the room. Now you get to the end of the season, and the question and the rumors and everything have kind of been flying rampant, especially since the announcement of you being the promoter at Penn Can in 2015. One assumption that I was hoping we could get off the table tonight was, even though you've got the reins of Penn Can, that doesn't take Yates County Speedway off the table at this point.
Yeah, absolutely not. You're right. And my plan is to be running both racetracks, and I guess that was a good segue, because the kids are heavily involved. They're going to be more involved than they've ever been before, and they're going to be a lot more involved in the business end of the whole program as well. And without their help, I wouldn't even consider it. But with their help, it is my plan I fully intend to come back to Yates County. We are still negotiating and still working out a couple of details, but I'm moving forward to prepare for next year, and my plan is to have Tyler, my oldest son, is going to serve as the general manager and oversee things. I will be there, pretty much most of the season. There will be a few weeks that I would miss, and haven't worked that whole schedule out yet. But Penn Can is 20 minutes from home, and it's a place where I was a race director for several years before I came to Yates County. And Reed Miller and Al Wilcox have been friends of mine for 30 years, and I've been around there. It was always been the sister track to 5 Mile, and so certainly it's not anything strange to me. And it goes back to what I talked about before. I'm just really confident with the staff that I have in place at Yates County, and also the staff that's in place at Penn Can. It's everybody that I worked with for several years before I came to Yates County. So I'm totally confident that we've got great people in place, that it doesn't need me to be there every single week at each track. I will be at one or the other, but that's the plan. And like I said, without the help of a lot of good people, it wouldn't be possible. And Reed Miller is staying on in a capacity where he's going to be at the track at Penn Can pretty much all season. Definitely the nights that I'm not there, he'll be there to oversee things there. So that's another big part of the equation as well. So I know that it's in good hands. Whichever track I'm not at, I'm confident that the other one's in good hands just as well.
And something that you and I have talked about in the past is how important it is for a promoter, looking ahead to the next season, to getting that ball rolling right off the start. So, for any track promoter here in the Finger Lakes Southern Tier area, or any dirt track for that matter, I don't think some people fully understand just how right off of the end of the season that a promoter kicks into, getting a schedule put together, trying to find sponsors and things of that nature.
Yeah, there's not much of an off season, that's for sure. There's really there's just so much going on. There's so much to do, that whether it's scheduling, changing rules if you have to change rules, selling advertising and sponsorship, going to the different trade shows, and there is no real downtime where you can just sit around and hang out. There's always something to do, and now times two for me. So that makes it even a little more hectic of a schedule. But what's good is you have a system, you have a program in place, and it's kind of falling back on my experience and at 5 Mile over the years, you kind of just plug that system in place at each track. It's just like a driver having a base setup and then adjusting accordingly. It's the same thing with running the racetrack, and you've got your system that while you're preparing for one track, you're also doing the same paperwork for the other track. So, it will take some more time, but yeah, you're right. There's not a whole lot of downtime, that's for sure.
And, coming out today, a couple of things come out today in Area Auto with Steve Kellogg's article being the head flagger at Yates County Speedway and also a writer for Area Auto. One thing that we were hoping to get out to everybody tonight listening is plans are coming together for the banquet for the 2014 season.
Yes, the banquet will be held on Friday, January 30th at the Holiday Inn in Elmira on Water Street. And there'll be cocktail hour from 6 to 7, dinner from 7 to 8, and then our awards from 8 to 9, and then we'll have this place called Creekside Entertainment there to entertain everyone from 9 to 11. So I think you've heard of them.
Yeah, we've heard of those guys. That's good news. That's something that actually in our past in interviews talking with Doug Elkins, that's one thing that Doug has always done, with us and even our DJ company Creekside is racers giving those companies that support motorsports the first shot at their business, and want to give you a big thanks for you doing that with your business. So that'll be a fun night for everybody.
I'm gonna have to hide in the Creekside wagon, crash that party.
Yeah, it should be a good night. We're looking forward to it. It's generally a lot of fun, and that's what we want to do. We want to make it fun. We want to celebrate the year, and everyone should be proud of their accomplishments, and we want to reward them accordingly. And certainly that night, we'll know where we stand at that point, and what information we don't have out there. I like to, in the past, I always like to announce whatever, schedule things and things like that at the banquet. So we'll have full details by then, if not sooner.
That's great. We've got just a couple of minutes before we take a short pause here, and we'll have more with Dan on the other side of our commercial break. But before we go to that break, Dan, I wanted to touch on another piece of Steve's article, and we can we can start this conversation and discuss more. But we've got with you looking at 2015 and the hopes that everything stays the same, except for maybe a few division changes. I saw that came out in what Steve wrote today. Yeah,
I mean, that stuff I'm still working on, but I can tell you that the core four will be, sportsman, street stocks, IMCA modifieds, and 4-cylinders. Those four divisions will be there, for sure. And then what we do beyond that is stuff I'm still working on. But I've got a few ideas, and one of the thoughts I had is to run a 5th division, but make it a different class each week. Each time we race.
Sure.
Just to give a little variety for the fans, and so that's a thought. That's not anything in concrete. Nothing is in concrete, but other than the fact that those 4 divisions are definitely part of the plan, and there's a lot of other divisions out there, whether it be modifieds or late models or the 305 sprints. There'll be the nights when we have the 360 shows and the micro sprints we ran this year, and they put on a good show. So there's a lot out there that that we can reach out to maybe spice it up a little bit and do some different things, give fans a little something different every week, so it's not the same old.
Absolutely. And I know from a racing fan's perspective, having that 5th division kind of step in and out, I mean, I think that would be really cool to see. But I think it'd be cool. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully everything can work out for everybody.
Yeah, and we'll discuss that and more on the other side of this break here. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide. You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
Now back to the crew whose studio was named after a dinner entree. Here's Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
We're back here on Turn 5 Live, here on the Performance Motorsports Network, talking with Yates County Speedway promoter Dan Harpell. And Dan, wanted to chat a little bit. Everybody has seen the announcement about you getting the keys to the Penn Can Speedway. You touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to dive in a little bit more about Penn Can. Penn Can is, from what I understand, just across the border into Pennsylvania, there in Susquehanna, 20 minutes from your guys' location. Give us a little, 'cause I'm sure there's folks listening tonight that haven't been to Penn Can. I know I haven't, and I'd love to make a trip down there. But tell us a little bit about Penn Can.
Well, it's a real neat facility. It's kind of a flat track with semi-banked, long straightaways, narrow turns, lots of action. I can say that Reed and Al have done a great job over the years, just totally transforming that track. I mean, when they took it over, the wall, the home stretch wall, was Uke tires built into a dirt bank that all the way down the home stretch, and dirt bank down the back stretch, and they put concrete walls in the straightaways. They put in new lights, new fencing, new bleachers, built a brand new tower. So they've done a lot over the years to upgrade the facility, and it's a real neat place. It's down Route 171 in Susquehanna, and it's about 7 miles off of Route 81. So actually, people that come to from Scranton area to either Penn Can or 5 Mile, it's really the same distance, because 5 miles is about the same distance from the Great Bend exit as Penn Can is off the Great Bend exit. So, and that's the two tracks have kind of been sister tracks for many, many years, and so it's a great racetrack. Lots of exciting action, and we're looking forward to it.
You guys see a lot of crossover between the two tracks, guys running 2 nights a week?
You know what? Not nearly like it used to be. I mean, back in the late 80s, early 90s, there'd be 2/3 of the field would race both nights, and that's where one of the places where racing overall has changed considerably, and a lot of most guys can't afford to race 2 nights, so now it's they kind of pick and choose, and they run one night or the other. There is crossover. There is drivers that run at both tracks, but not nearly like it used to. And we're talking about doing some cross promotions and some things to encourage guys that do want to run 2 nights a week to run at those 2 tracks at Penn Can and 5 Mile between my brother and I.
Now, Dan, I have been to Penn Can, and of course I've been to 5 Mile, and I just want to, Penn Can is a great facility. It's a racy little racetrack, probably one of the best bull rings around, and I just wanted to say and make comment that even though you don't have a lot of crossovers, the fields are full each week. You draw from different places, different environments and different geographical than each other.
Yeah, definitely. There's there's a lot of guys there's a lot of race cars out there. It's just they're not racing 2 nights a week like they were, but both tracks have a strong contingent of Scranton area cars. Binghamton, there's quite a few Binghamton cars I would say Penn Can is predominantly Pennsylvania drivers, but there is some Binghamton area guys that go down. And 5 Mile is a lot of Scranton, Pennsylvania, probably half the field, which might surprise people, but we are that close to the border. But also Binghamton, Oneonta direction, Elmira direction, so it's really they come from all directions on Saturdays. So yeah, there's quite a few different regions where the guys come from.
Looking ahead, I know you just started with Penn Can here recently as their promoter for 2015. What are some things that race fans can look for out of Penn Can this year?
I I believe that you don't need to reinvent the wheel, and things have been pretty successful there, so I don't anticipate a whole lot of change. We will run 2 ROC modified shows. Last year there was just one. We'll run ROC Sportsman, ROC Street Stock events. We may dabble with a couple of Sunday shows, small car shows. I know that Reed's been successful with that in the past with a small car show that he did, so we may do a couple of them. There is something, but I can't divulge this at this time because I'm saving it. But there is, I'm going to possibly be bringing something back from the past there that hasn't been there in a while, but that's just a little tease, so everyone will have to stay tuned for that. But I think it'll be very popular with the drivers and the fans. So not a whole lot of change. I know guys are really anxious about it, and when there was a lot of speculation. I'm kind of the center of speculation, and I haven't been able to answer a lot of questions, and I'm sure that's frustrating for everybody, and it's extremely frustrating for me. But a lot of guys, I think, were concerned just because there's change. Is it going to change the rules dramatically? And some of the stories I heard were just crazy. That I was going to do this and do that, and I really don't anticipate doing much of anything. It just pretty much the same rules and a very similar schedule with a couple additions, and like I said, if it, don't reinvent the wheel, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been quite successful there, and we just want to pick up and run with it.
Well, I think this off season we've done our fair share of talking folks off the ledge, and trying to get folks to rethink about some of the things that they're coming out here with. But I think that was definitely something that we were able to do tonight, and it's great to see that our I call our speedway, but that Yates County's always been home to us, and it's pretty special to see that the promoter that everybody that goes to Yates County's gotten to work with in 2014 is a guy that's in fairly high demand. Penn Can, taking the chance to have you promote their speedway this coming season, and you're a guy that I think this will be a great question to try and pose to, but where do you see the state of dirt short track racing here in the Northeast? It feels to us like we're on a little bit of a resurgence here with new promoters or promoters coming back to speedways that have been there before. It just feels like dirt track racing's got a little momentum right now.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely it's gone through a lull. There's no question about that, and there's been a lot of change. A lot of things are not like they used to be, but you're right. I see the same thing. It seems like we're starting to build a little more interest, a little more excitement. One of the things that definitely hurt us for probably 10 or 15 years was all the increased Saturday night NASCAR races. And fans that would go, I can remember a 5 mile where I had people that would buy season tickets every year, and then they stopped buying season tickets because they would go to Pocono, or they'd go to, Watkins Glen or Dover, and they would spend their whole season's worth of racing money at one weekend at a NASCAR race. And now you're starting to see that change, and you're seeing that people are coming back now more to the local tracks, and that's been a trend, and that hopefully continues in our favor, because we've got, not just Penn Can, Yates County, but in the Northeast. I mean, I don't know if fans realize how spoiled they are, because the racing is unbelievable. The car counts, although are down from what they were 10 or 15 years ago, if you go anywhere else in the country, and if they could have 20 cars starting the feature in their headline division, they wouldn't believe it. They'd be out of their mind. So there's a lot of positive and a lot of things to build on, and I definitely see a trend heading back in the right direction for our type of racing, and let's hope that we can just keep building on that excitement and get some of the always working to get new fans in, and it's a challenge getting kids involved, more so than it ever has been. So the kids are the future, and you need to get them involved in racing, and like I said, they're the future of the sport.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and anytime anybody can take a kid to the races, we're all on board with that. Dan, we appreciate your time joining us tonight, and helping us get what information is available out there to the race fans, and kind of help talk everybody off the ledge here with the rumor mill and everything. We'll talk to you again real soon, and I imagine the next time we'll talk to you is either hopefully an official announcement for Yates, or we'll see you there at the banquet for sure.
Yeah, that'll be good. I hope that things get ironed out here real quick, because I do want to, we got a lot to do, and I want to have the time to prepare, unlike we did this past year. And one thing I did want to mention too, before I forget, before we hang up, was the rules-wise. I've had a lot of questions on street stock rules, and I can tell you that the rules that we had in place for the Empire 100 were across the board. People just loved it. They thought it was the best rules package, and Walt Allen, I'll give Walt all the credit for that. He came up with that. He looked at all the tracks and tried to do the best for everybody, and it worked out. And when you saw the end result of that race was tremendous. And yeah. I've had I've had drivers that have told me that they were skeptical of the rules, and after seeing that weekend, they were totally on board. So our rules, we're probably just going to adapt the same set of rules that we use for the Empire 100 for our weekly street stock division. So just want to get that out there, because I've had a lot of questions on that.
Well, that's good. That'll give those guys some information to chew on. And yeah, that was a fantastic race. Going to be hard to try and repeat that performance in 2015, but with a package like that, I have no doubt about that. Dan, thanks again for your time, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thanks, guys. Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll talk to you on the other side.
All right.
Merry Christmas, Dan.
That's Dan Harpell from the Yates County Speedway and the Penn Can Speedway. We're going to digest all of what we just heard with Dan Harpell. We're going to talk more about that. We'll talk street stock rules. We'll just digest the whole thing, Clint. You're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
In the Pits Media is proud to present its newest partner, WinYourNewCar.com. That's right, you now can enter the #1 American Dream Car Contest giveaway at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free, delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cottman man. Cottman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cottman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cottman and let your local Cottman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cottman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cottman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right in the end of the game. Fourth quarter, fourth down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cottman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cottman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
If you're a gearhead, you probably go online to those hot rod superstores, drooling over the chrome and speed goodies until you find just the right item for your muscle car, tuner car, or truck. But what do you do when it comes to fixing the mom mobile? If you're like most do-it-yourselfers, you head to the strip mall parts store and talk to the "Do you want fries with that?" kid behind the counter. Hold on, Bunky. Did Did you stop to think where those chain stores are getting the parts that you're installing in the vehicle that's used to transport your family everywhere? They get the cheapest suppliers they can find to sell you the parts at bargain prices. Their limited lifetime warranties? What a joke. Remember the last time Mom's car broke down? You heard about that one for weeks. Don't take that chance again. Excelsior Racing has the quality parts you need for your family vehicle. Parts that you can install knowing you're getting the best for your family. Excelsior Racing. Quality parts, personalized service, affordable pricing, fast to you direct. Excelsior Racing. Online at excelsiorracing.com or call 502-909-2034.
Hi everybody, this is Getty Lee for RAD. To many of us, drunk driving is something that other people do. Certainly not one of our friends or relatives would do such a thing. When you see someone who's had too much to drink, about to get into a car, urge them to give up the keys and find alternate transportation. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, you should too.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hey race fans, this is Oswego Speedway Public Relations Director Dan Kapusinski, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller joining you here on a Tuesday night, our last Turn 5 Live edition of 2014. And Clint, let's go ahead and kind of digest everything that we heard talking with Dan tonight. As Steve Kellogg's article that was released today on the Area Auto Racing News digital edition came out today. Still no official word that Dan will be the promoter, but actively working toward that goal. Certainly sounds like he has every intention of coming back, and I'm just curious kind of what your thoughts are. He talked about the street stock rules, just a lot to chew on right now.
Well, sometimes no news is good news. I mean, like you said, the rumor mill's been going wild. Hasn't been, officially put to rest. Hasn't been confirmed. So we know that they're working on it. We know that they're doing their best, and will continue to do their best. So, I think that going forward, there is a sense of hope and a sense of optimism for something to be worked out.
The last part that he touched on there was the street stock rules. 2015 street stock rules will follow the rules package that they came out with at the 2014 Empire 100. You're a crew guy for a couple of street stocks. Have got a long history with them. And I'd like to see your reaction to that rules package, because on social media and on the message boards, it certainly seems like that was a popular package.
Yeah, it is a popular package, and it really combines a little bit of everything. Actually, Woodhall had a rules meeting a couple weeks ago, and they adopted the rules package except for the transmission. So I was a little curious about, to get to ask Dan about that, just, to get his thoughts on that. But, at least we know that if it's there, that's the package that's there. And if you want to keep up with the Joneses, you gotta, you're going to have to, you're going to have to go with it. A lot of guys think that on a big track, the Falcon or the Burt Tranny isn't a big advantage. My dad seems to call hogwash on that, but he's been around a while, and I think Carl's the same way. But I don't know. I wish I could sit here and say that it made a difference. I don't know. I don't know if Kurt Stebbins was running a Burt or Falcon transmission. I just know he had a real good Potter race car, and and they're building good cars. So was that an advantage? I don't know.
Well, what's interesting too is as you looked through the field, it really through the guys that ran through the top 10 in the Empire 100, you had a pretty good mix of guys that either ran the ROC Tour or ran Woodhall or ran Yates County. I mean, Gene Ballmer was about 2 or 3 laps away from winning the 100. So from my evaluation, and I'll be the first one to admit I'm not the most technically capable media person in the world, but from where I looked at the top 10, it looked like it didn't give a huge advantage to one group of cars.
Well, and that's understandable, but having said that, that doesn't mean that he couldn't have put a transmission in between the last race of the year and the Empire 100.
That's true.
Jared ran a standard all year long, and when the rules came out for the Empire 100, he put his Burt tranny in it. So without sitting down and talking to him and finding out what they did, you just don't know.
That's very true.
And I would be kind of curious, just I won't say I'm a mathematical whiz, but I like looking at numbers. I'd be curious to see the guys that were having the tire wear issues, or not really issues, but the severe tire wear. I'd be kind of curious to see what the numbers are of, having the racing trannies versus the stock trannies, to see if there was any difference in the guys that were really chewing up tires, if they were running an aftermarket transmission or if they were running a stock transmission. I don't know if that would have any real big difference on it or not. Clint, your opinion on that?
Well, Richie didn't plan on changing transmissions, so I don't know if he did or not. I know he had really bad tire wear. Jared, who did change transmissions and known for a fact, had really bad tire wear. So again, we'll have to get on Richie here and see if we can find out if he ran the Berter Falcon transmission, because it might have a lot to do with it. Because Gene Balmer did not burn his tires up. Richie went over and looked at his tires after the race was over, and he was running that car hard. I mean, you can attest, Steven, he was on the outside and bringing it for 100 laps.
Yeah. Yeah,
and now
got that right.
That kind of makes me wonder if they're sticking with this option for the two options for the transmissions for this coming year. If the Harpells are running the track, if we see a track like that again, or if we see that during the season, because I think we can all say that the transformation of the Yates County Speedway from years past of being heavy, wet, and rutted like the cornfield next door to the smooth, slick track. Yeah, I said it. I said it. I'm not afraid. It's
throwing out the gauntlet here on Turn 5 Live.
There was one year I won a bandit race. I drove it into turn 2, let go of the wheel, and the track turned the car for me. So, I'm just saying. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, I don't think we saw a track all year like we have in past years, as far as roughness and that turn 3 bump. It was there a little bit, but I mean, do you think there is an advantage to running the Burt or a Falcon or any of the other options versus?
I'm not technically sound enough to answer that. My dad says up and down that there's a difference. I just got confirmation from Richie that he did not run a Burt or Falcon transmission, and he still burned his tires up.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it, it could be, neutral setup as opposed to a tight setup. What tires he burning off it? You just don't.
I bet I'm sure the chassis and how they had the car set up, and I know that Richie used a setup in the World 100 or the Empire 100 that he hadn't used all year long. He tried something on Friday night, or was going to try something at practice, and tried something, went home, talked it over with Brett Buno, and then they tried something completely different from that. So it was something that he hadn't used all year long.
Well, and I don't think it's overstepping bounds to throw out there as well that this American Racer tire that these guys are running on is probably not made to go a 100-lap race like those guys were doing. So you don't expect the tire to chew up like that necessarily, but it was dry. It got slick, and any time that you have that. Those conditions with that many laps, I think it wasn't really a huge surprise that guys were seeing that. And it's just amazing to see. We'll share the picture right now to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast Facebook page of Kurt Stebbins' right rear tire. I mean, that thing was bald. That had nothing left at all. But, Clint, I don't think we're done with this topic. We'll discuss more, but we have Bob Reis coming up here shortly. We're going to get to Bob. He's going to be he's the owner and promoter of Freedom Motorsports Park. We're going to talk to Bob next. We'll talk to him about Freedom and their 2015 season. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at WinYourNewCar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right, it's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette, it's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your part of your photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
Now back to the Larry, Curly, and Moe of Dirt Track Racing.
Big Poppy, Clint Miller.
Ho, 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 Steven.
Ho, 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 here at the poorhouse. Alongside to my left, we got B-Rad.
What's up?
Yeah, there we
He's
go.
going to have his hands full tonight, I'm afraid.
Everybody's feeling frisky tonight.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
I got to tell you, Clint, it never gets old. It just never gets old. That was almost a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago, probably next week.
Actually, it might even be over a year old. We're not sure, but always a good time here on Turn 5 Live, here on the Performance Motorsports Network. You know, we were just discussing transmissions and what's the advantage. I just posted a question to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast Facebook page. Question of the night number 2. Is there any advantage to running a Burt or Falcon transmission versus running a stock transmission at a track like Yates County? What's your preference and why, if you're willing to share? So if you're tuning into us tonight, go over to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast Facebook page and post a comment. Let us know what your opinion is, and we'll get a little fan interaction tonight on the show. But without further ado, talking about interaction, we've got our next caller on the line. We've got Bob Reis from the Freedom Motorsports Park getting ready for their 2015 season. Bob, welcome to the show. Appreciate you taking a little bit of time, and glad that we could catch you on a fair weather night up there in Buffalo.
Oh, yeah, we don't get much good weather up here in the winter. You called me on a good one tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, first of all, congratulations are in order. You guys got your, preliminary announcements out that Freedom will be in operation. That was one one track for a short period of time where, we weren't exactly sure what the scenario was going to be. Folks had talked about, the Freedom Speedway sign had come down, and it was great to see the Freedom Motorsports Park started up a Facebook page to get information out to everybody. So, what is it that you can tell us about so far?
Well, we weren't really ready to make an announcement when it happened. It just worked out that way that Troy and his family were making an exit when they did, and we had been in talks for a few months to possibly lease it or buy it, and we ended up buying the track. And we're working on getting our schedule pieced together and getting our class structure done, which we have the classes narrowed down. We're going to be running a mini stock class, a street stock, a pure stock. We're going to run the 602 Sportsman modifieds that were running there before. And we're going to run the Rush Series late models. We're going to be a weekly track for them where the guys can come in and gain the weekly points toward the Rush weekly racing series. We're also going to have a tour race for them on June 5th. We got a Patriots race scheduled with the sprint cars. And we're doing something a little different there. We're going to have the Patriots cars, and we're going to have the 6A mini sprint tour, the 600s. And they're going to have a speed week this year, similar to a Pennsylvania or Ohio speed week for the sprint cars, and we're the last stop on their speed week, so they're going to crown the champion at our track. So that's going to be July 10th.
Was that a speed week for the Patriots, or was that for the 6As?
No, that's for the 6A guys. It's something they're trying new. They're trying to build some interest in their group, and hopefully where we are located, we're hoping to get some of the Pennsylvania guys to come up. So we think that's going to be a real good event for the track, having the sprint cars and those guys the same night. It was Troy and his family had done the Patriots race last year, and I just happened to be there that night, and there wasn't a seat in the place. I mean, it was literally standing room only. Had a really nice night for racing, and we're hoping to do the same this year.
That's great. Going back to talking about your involvement with the Speedway, so prior to this off season, did you have any role with the Speedway, whether it was owner or helping out at the track?
If you would have asked me if I was going to own a track 4 months ago, I would have told you you were nuts. It just wasn't. It wasn't really something I was looking at. I mean, I thought about it a little bit, and a year ago, myself and Mike Woodring, who some of the sprint car people out there would know, 8-time ESS champion, is a really good friend of mine, lives here in the Buffalo area in Hamburg. We had gone out there and looked at the facility a year ago because he had some interest in it. And, I've been sitting idle for a couple of years for the stock car portion. But there is a full-size, full-blown motocross track in the back called Air MX. And he was thinking of doing something. And, I went out there and looked with him. And, it needed a little fluff and buff because it had been sitting for 2 years. But everything was there. It just needed a little cleaning up, some boards in the stands fixed and so forth. And at that point, Mike Waterborn, who's the current owner, had already been talking to Troy and his family about it. And we just decided that, me and Mike decided that, maybe we'll let this guy take a shot at this thing and go at it. And, as the summer went along, I had gone up there a bunch of times to watch. I actually raced there once because I own a couple sportsman cars. I own a business down the street, a mini storage facility. Just so happens that it's a couple miles away from there, so I was up in that area quite a bit. Fall came around, and Mike Waterborn had continued his website from when it was called South Arcade Speedway when he had operated it, and I had noticed on the website that it said the track was available for bids on a lease or a purchase. So I called him and talked to him. Mike did the same thing, and we talked to him again, and it just so happens that things weren't progressing well for him and Troy, and there was an opportunity there, and we just had to wait and see how that was going to pan out, and we ended up being able to purchase the place. So it is solely mine. Mike Woodring doesn't really have any involvement other than giving me a little coaching, but and a bunch of advice, because he's been to an awful lot of racetracks in this country, and he sees what works and what don't.
Well, he could certainly have a lot worse coach.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Mike's been around for a while.
Mike's been around, and he's seen a lot, and he's seen a lot of programs that work and a lot that don't. And I would venture to say he's been to if he hasn't been to everyone, he's probably been to 85% of the dirt tracks coast to coast in this country with the Outlaws.
No
so, and like I said, I've been good friends with him for a number of years. I ran a car at Oswego for a couple of years as super, and he was helping me with that, with the fuel injection and stuff on it. And, we became pretty good friends. So it's definitely a big help.
That was one thing I wanted to touch on, too, was, you purchasing the Speedway and having it operational for 2015. This isn't your first go-around in motorsports. You've had experience with being behind the wheel as well.
Yeah. I just celebrated a birthday Friday. I just turned 46, and I've actually been driving since I was 10. I started in go-karts, 10 years old at Batavium road course track that's next to the 90 up here. A lot of people have been up and down the 90 can see it. It's now closed, but did that for a number of years, and ran Can-Am midgets in Canada for a few years, and then we moved out of there. I live in the Buffalo area, so my next progression was going to Lancaster on the pavement, and ran a sportsman car there for a year. And when I was 21 or 22, I had a full-blown 358 modified that we ran there semi-weekly because, being so young, and I owned the car. I didn't drive for anybody, and we ran it on and off and was able to run it for a couple of full years there. And, later 90s, I got together with my wife, got married, bought a house, had my daughter, and I backed off for a few years, and then I got involved with the midgets again. Bought one of them, did the indoor racing in the falls, and did somebody, brought the modified back out and did that for a little while. And then, one of my big things is I love super modifieds. And I had been to almost every classic since 1979 as a spectator. And I told my dad for a long time, I said, you know what, I'm going to be in this race someday. And I was able to do that. In 2007 and 2008, I was full-time at Oswego in the supers. And did that for a couple of years, built the ROC modified, did a little bit more modified racing, and then I just took an interest in dirt, and kind of because of Mike. I started going with him a little bit and started going to some other tracks and watching, and when you're so involved with the pavement, and you don't go to these other places, you don't realize that, pavement's in kind of a depressed state right now, and it has been for a while. And then, just even Ransomville here, I started going to Ransomville a little bit with Chuck Hassel, because I knew Chuck from pavement racing, and he had bought a 358 car, and he wanted to try it. He's from Ransomville. So I started going out there with him and watching, and I'm like, wow, look at all the people in the grandstands. Look how many cars they got here. When you're pavement racing around New York State anymore, you don't see that. You see a handful of cars and a handful of people in the grandstands most of the time. So this, to me, was like, wow, I can't believe this, And then I got more involved in it, and I ended up buying a sprint car and doing some Patriots races myself. And the sprint car thing really wasn't for me. I mean, I had fun doing it, but those are the type of cars that you need to be in them every week to be good at it. And I'm not able to do that. The way my work schedule is. So, guy down in Syracuse bought my sprint cars, and he had a sportsman car. His son had a sportsman car. Had a lot of success with it. Sam Reeks. And we didn't trade, but he bought my sprint car 3 weeks later. I ended up buying a sportsman because I had some interest in it even before I got rid of the sprint car, and I wasn't really looking to sell it. But he called me when I met him at Rolling Wheels. We ran there for 2 days during the summer a few years ago, and got to talking. And he had my phone number, and he called me. He says, "Hey," he says, "we got some money to buy a car. If you know anybody that has a good sprint car for sale, we'd like to buy it, or maybe buy yours." Well, I listened to that message like 4 times, and I'm like, I got to make an executive decision here, and I ended up selling him the car. And bought his sportsman car, which was, for me, was perfect because he was able to help me with it and go to some races. And, you know, we started going to Fulton. He was from Fulton, and he's like, why don't you come up for the first race? And they were going to run the sprint car in the Patriots opener. So I went. We ran okay, you know, not bad, but I had never really, I'd driven one of those cars. I mean, I ended up driving that car at Black Rock in the Dutch Hogue race the year before. The way I got it from, like, he ran it at Victoria, and I ran it the next week. And I believe there was like 56 cars there, and I ended up finishing 8th in a feature. So I was pretty happy with that. But we redid the car over the winter. I started going to Fulton. So I was just going to go for a week, and it went okay. So the next week, he's like, well, we're off this week with a sprint car. Why don't you come down again? So I went down again. I ended up winning the heat. I forget where we ran the feature, 8, 10, something, 12, something like that. So he says, why don't you come down next week? We're not running this week either. We're running Sunday, so I'm available Saturday. So I was starting to like this, you know. So I went down, won the heat, finished like 7th in the feature. Well, then the next week, won the heat again, won the feature. I said, you know, I kind of like this now. And that was it. That was my last race at Fulton. I haven't been back there since, but we did Canada a couple times in Brewerton, and, you know, I just really started to enjoy doing the dirt thing, and got more involved with it. And like I said, I had already done the sprint car and been to a bunch of races at like Sharon and Erie's down here with the sprint car and State Line, and just been to a bunch of tracks and saw that how dirt racing was prospering and the pavement racing was faltering. And, you know, it's kind of the path I went on. I did try to go back super racing last year and broke my wrist in the car in the spring. And so that was the end of my year pretty much. And we ran Syracuse with the sportsman car in the fall, but that was it. I was kind of out of commission most of this year. So
Gotcha. Well, we're going to talk more sportsman modifieds here, as well as we'll talk a little bit more about Freedom Motorsports Park coming up. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
WinYourNewCar.com. Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest. At WinYourNewCar.com, complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free. Come on, stop dreaming, start driving with WinYourNewCar.com.
Car problems? You can trust your local Cotman man. Cotman has a 40-year history as a leader in car repair and making happy, satisfied customers. Whatever's wrong with your car, SUV, or truck, Cotman will check it out free using state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment. Don't take chances with your car. Bring it to Cotman and let your local Cotman man show you why they are America's transmission and total auto care experts. Visit Cotman.com to download money-saving coupons. Cotman. Real service, real fast.
You know that phone call is going to come at the worst possible time, right at the end of the game. Fourth quarter, 4th down, and 1 yard to go. They're piling up, but you can't watch that. You got to get that car off the road. This could have been prevented if you have taken advantage of Cotman's free TransCheck 21. Here's a chance to have us look at your car and head off any problems that could happen that could interrupt that game. Again, it's a free check. Come see us.
See Leonard and the fine folks at Cotman of Manassas, 9113 Mathis Avenue in Manassas. Give them a call at 703-365-7200.
Media sales professionals with agency experience. If you're frustrated with your current position, unrealistic quotas, and inept management, if you're a sales machine and you simply will not take no as an acceptable reply, if you're looking for a rapidly growing company with unlimited sales potential for commissions in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you're searching for a high-tech, forward-looking, laid-back, but extremely professional organization who appreciate your skills and dedication, we have your next opportunity. Scorpion Radio Group is building a sales team of self-starters who are motivated. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444 or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. That's 717-749-0444. 0444 and ask for Sue.
Hi, this is Jens Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
Now back to the Larry, Curly, and Moe of Dirt Track Racing, Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Talking motorsports and Freedom Motorsports Park with Bob Reis, the new owner at Freedom. Bob, let's talk a little bit about the facility that you've inherited through the sale. Talk to us a little bit about, obviously this is all early on in the going right now, but have you been out to the facility yet? Is there any plans that you have in the imminent future?
Yeah, there's some stuff that we'd like to upgrade a little bit and fix up. Troy and his family had done a bunch of work to the track to get it up and running last year. He put new clay on the track. And just did a bunch of basic maintenance, cleaning up, adding a catch fence in 3 and 4. It's pretty turnkey. I mean, you could run it the way it is, although we would like to add another tech building and new scale area. We're going to do that off of turn 3. As you pull off the track behind the scoreboard, we'd like to actually get some paint on the grandstands, which last 20 years, just about every track I've been to that's old doesn't have any paint on the grandstands, but we're going to try it. so
okay.
We want to get that done and upgrade a little bit of the lighting. Just for now, a lot of little things. There's a lot of other things I would like to do, but our resources are going to be kind of limited. It is first year. I got to kind of watch money-wise what we're doing and make sure that we can get through the year comfortably without running into any shortfalls financially. So right now it's the plans. There is, like I said, that full-blown motocross track in the back. There's 75 acres there to work with. So at some point we'd like to expand the pit area because I know when they had the Patriots last year, there's a lot of big haulers that come with those guys, and they couldn't really get them all in the pits the way they wanted to, so they elected to pit them outside the pits in the parking lot. So that's something we need to work on. A few things with the concession buildings we want to work on. We got one concession building we're thinking about maybe just totally expanding or knocking down and replacing. But there's tons of little things we'd like to do. We'll just see how much of it we can get done before the year begins.
You talk about the motocross track. Is the plans to try and operate both, or are we just looking at the circle track for 2015?
No, it actually, the motocross track has been operating for the last couple of years. It's called RMX. It's run by a family out of Rochester. We lease them the use of the racetrack, even though they built it. They come down and they do a lease with us. They run their own program. It's on Sundays. They do about 7-8 shows a year, which I just the other day got his dates that he's going to be operating this year. And we also have a four-wheeler club, a Western New York four-wheeler club that runs a TT course in the infield of the oval track. And they've been doing that for approximately a year. And same thing, they do 7-8 events a year. They do Saturday afternoons, and they have a national AMA event that they're going to do this year. I believe it's in the middle of June. I don't have the exact date in front of me, but they did it last year and did pretty well with it, so they're hoping that they can make it a little bit bigger, better, and hope they have more fan base this year. So, and then there again, the four-wheeler thing, that's they use the facility, but they have their own people, their own safety guys, and they operate their own programs. So, that frees up a little of my time to do stuff with the Speedway. the oval track part of the speedway.
And I'm sure the goal there too, I mean, that's really a destination for multiple forms of dirt track racing. But I'm sure the goal too at the same time is, hey, if we get some guys here, guys and gals on a Friday night here to Freedom, and they say, oh, there's motocross and for ATVs as well, maybe we can get them over there, and same working the other way. If you guys have folks there for motocross and the ATVs, hey, there's a circle track here too. Maybe we should stop out there on a Friday night.
No, believe me, we've been thinking about it pretty hard. That was one thing that was lacking last year, is they really didn't do any kind of cross promotion at all. And even on the website for the Speedway, there was really in the schedule, it did show a motocross track, and it did show the four-wheeler guys, but there was no logos, no links, no nothing on the site. So really, unless you actually looked at the schedule, you were totally unaware that stuff was going on at the place. I've got some ideas of trying to get the motocross guys and the four-wheeler guys together to do like a combination event where you use the whole facility for the whole weekend, and it'd be like a one-price admission deal, and you get to see everything, both sides. So, even on the other side in the winter, a lot of facilities don't do anything in the winter. I think it's a little late this year to try and do it, but next year we're probably going to have vintage oval snowmobile racing. That's something myself and actually Mike Woodring is real big into vintage snowmobiling, and we've been talking about it. And I've talked to some guys that are pretty heavily into that in this area that travel a long distance to go run those races. I mean, I know Sharon Speedway is doing one this winter, and they've done them in the past and done really well with it. So we're thinking about doing it in our area, and from all indications, it would go really well. Because there's an awful lot of people in this area that own vintage racing sleds, and they're going all the way to Vermont. I mean, it's just the cost of getting there is killing them. It's just a fun thing. It's not like they're racing for money or anything. So,
yeah, and certainly up here in not quite our Finger Lakes area, we don't typically see a lot of snow, but there's definitely a big market for the snowmobiling in the northern country up here, and I think the snowmobile racing and the snowmobiles in general, kind of like the motorcycle dirt bike racing, the supercross and everything like that. A lot of guys that follow it that travel 4, 5, 6 hours to go to a race. I know I've personally got a friend who races dirt bikes, and it's crazy some of the places we've traveled with him, and just to hear him talk about some of the places he goes. So I think that would be really cool. And like you said, you would be one of the few facilities that actually puts on something like that. So I think that would be really, really cool to see.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's the Speedway is just the right size for it too. I mean, some of the tracks that they could run on, or some of these other places, they might be just a touch too big. We're advertised as a quarter and probably a third on the very outside. You don't want to put, especially the vintage sleds, you don't want to put them on a half-mile track. It's so the size of our place is just perfect for that, and we've got some ideas on doing the concession stands, making the concession stands accessible in the winter with some big 50 by 100 tents for seating. It's nice for people that ride up or come up to get inside somewhere for a couple minutes and take the edge off when it's really cold out. And let's face it, we're at the top of a mountain over there for real. I mean, you sit in the grandstands at our place, and you can't quite see 360 degrees around you, but you probably can see 180, and you're looking out at the hills in the distance all the way around. So the wind gets going up there pretty good. We're working on some things, some ideas of how to make our bathrooms usable in the winter, which is a big thing too. You're sitting there all day watching snowmobile racing. Nobody wants to walk in a porta potty. It's cold. So we think if we can make it really nice for the spectators, it'll be something that'll catch on really nice, and we can have an annual event. So little bit of work to do there to get it to that point, but we think it's doable.
Well, Freedom Motorsports Park on Facebook is where you're going to find a lot of the information, and they'll be coming out with website and such here in the near future. Bob, what's the next announcement that that race fans can expect coming from you guys? Is there anything kind of on the stove, just about ready to go?
Yeah, well, like I said, we've got the Rush Series race that we're going to do in June 5th. We're going to do that Patriots race in July. I'm working on a grit race. We were in talks with Nick Stark about doing a grit race for the 602 Sportsman cars. Scheduling is a little bit of an issue because we're a Friday night track, and obviously when you're scheduling a special like that and you've got guys that run regular nights and want to follow the tour, you're trying to work around that and make it accessible for them. And unfortunately, we don't have anything going except for Friday nights, so that's trying to put a date in there is what we're working at now. We're probably going to get that done. It might not be for a little bit here, but we're pretty confident that's going to happen. There's a little bit of talk about a super late model race, probably with ULMLS, but we're not real sure about that one either. We're working on some dates and some other stuff. That one, we'd like to do it. I know Chris Zuber would like to do it, but with that one, we got to work on a little bit. I'm pretty confident about the grit race, the super late model race. Not so much, but there's a very good possibility it could happen. We'll just keep working with him and see if we can make something happen with that.
All right, Bob. Well, we'll look forward to getting those announcements. And again, folks, go to Facebook.com, look up Freedom Motorsports Park for all your news and info. They just put up a pretty sweet-looking logo for the Motorsports Park. So, Bob, thanks so much for your time tonight. And as more news comes out, we'll talk to you again in the future.
Yep, anytime.
All right.
Thanks for
That's
having
Bob
me
Reis from the Freedom Motorsports Park. Appreciate his time on the show tonight. Got to hear from him as well as Dan Harpell as far as the racetracks go. And on the other side of the break, Clint, we're going to dive back into our Burt Falcon standard transmission discussion here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
Hi, this is Yen Scott from Summit Point Kart in Summit Point, West Virginia. If you're looking for a real racing experience on a real racetrack, come out to Summit Point Kart this weekend. For as little as $25, you can get your racing career started. New this year, Summit Point Kart offers the RX 250 capable of over 75 miles an hour. We're open every Friday from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m., Saturday from noon till 10 p.m., and Sunday from noon till 9 p.m. For more information, go to our website, summitpointkartwithak.com, or you can call us at 304-725-5270. Summit Point Kart, your East Coast karting center.
In the race of everyday life, it's nice to have the green flag, but drivetrain problems are the pits. A fully remanufactured engine, transmission, or differential from Jasper Engines and Transmissions costs less than a new vehicle and comes with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide transferable warranty. See JasperEngines.com for details and get the green flag in your race of everyday life.
See the boys at Chandler & Sons Automotive, 45977 Old Ox Road in Sterling. Give them a call, 703-437-7300.
Ever hire, never quit. Lofty goals in this age of shoddy quality, corporate indifference, and built-in obsolescence. It's a beacon of light in a crowded field of mediocrity. The way a company is run is an indication of how you, the customer, is going to be treated. You have a lot of choices when you're searching for auto and performance parts online and at the corner parts store. So why should you buy from Excelsior Racing? Because they're simply the best online parts supplier in the business. If you're looking for selection, ease of ordering, cost, and prompt delivery, look no further. If you have a question, our customer service hotline, staffed by knowledgeable gearheads like you, will ensure that you get what you need to fix or mod your car or truck. With 1,000 suppliers, you're guaranteed to get what you need. First time, every time. Excelsior Racing. Excellence on the track. Excellence on the road. Excellence in customer service. Online at ExcelsiorRacing.com or call 502-909-2034.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Welcome back to Turn 5 Live. Here's Stephen, Clint, and Brad.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens joining you here on our last Tuesday night edition of 2014 here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Going to take a couple weeks off for the holidays. But, Clint, let's get back to this transmission discussion. Had a few folks, I shared our question of the night to my personal page, got a few folks that gave us some responses, and wanted to kind of toss around some ideas here. One guy used to run street stocks. Matter of fact, I think he's run every division that's ever had races at the Dundee Oval. He says Burt and Falcon are way more reliable, and after 2 or 3 stock transmission explosions, they're a lot safer too. Is that ever something you guys have ever experienced there, Clint?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember at all the years that I've been with Carl. My dad always used to run the 2-speed power glides, but I don't ever remember the Carl's stock 3-speed transmission ever blowing one up. We've, broken ears off them, maybe broke a casing, but just broke it, like not a grenade, so to speak. And I read that, somebody's, you can get them, teams selling them at a cheaper price, but you're still talking, I've talked to some people about some used ones, and you're still talking $500 or $600. Carl's got 6 or 7 stock transmissions laying around, so, how long does it go before you actually start saving your money, I guess?
Well, that's very true. I want to thank those guys that gave us some comments here, a little fan interaction with the show tonight. We actually, later on in the show, in our last segment tonight, we had even more fan interaction with our question number 1 of the night, talking about what is on your 2015 wish list as far as racing goes for the 2015 season. Still got time if you'd like to get in on that conversation. Go over to the Turn 5 Racing Podcast Facebook page and let us know what's on your wish list for 2015. We'll discuss those in the last portion of the show. But let's get to some dirt track news and notes that's come out here in the last couple of weeks, Clint.
Hey, Steve, can I start off with a local one first?
Absolutely. Or are we going to start it early? Well,
I don't know. I just, you were talking news and notes for the upcoming year. I wanted to congratulate Dylan Cece on getting a full-time ride with Dylan Potter and Potter Chassis. They're going to let him wheel their car at Yates County and Woodhall and the ROC shows. So I wanted to say congratulations to Dylan. The Potter boys got quite a wheelman for their chassis, and they're the up-and-comers, in the street stock division, and then I think it's going to be a good combination.
Well, actually, you read my mind, because that was number 1 on my list tonight as well, as far as our news and notes section went. And I got to tell you, if you thought that Dylan Cece not running a lot of races during the regular season caused any collection of rust on the old steering wheel, boy, he shook that right off. Right out of the gate, those guys almost won a $500 to win race there at Yates County. Was a flat tire with 2 laps to go away from picking up that victory. He was a class of the field that night. They went and ran, and you'll have to help me, Clint. I don't know if you remember. I want to say it was either 5 Mile Point or Penn Can. They went and ran, and I believe run second, and then came back to run at the Empire 100 and had a little bit of trouble there. But just an impressive run for CC, and it's great to see that those guys are going to be putting Dylan in a car, Dylan running for Dylan anyway, in that 14 car. But I have talked to both of them actually in the last couple of days, and they are working on firming up their plans for 2015. I honestly, Clint, I think a lot of folks can kind of give you a general idea of what they'd like to do this coming season. But, everybody's obviously waiting patiently on the Yates County announcement just to make sure that those I's are dotted and T's are crossed. But a lot of those guys still making those plans. But, yeah, their plan at this point is to bring that 14 car back out with CC at the wheel. And I'm actually hearing, Clint, that they're going to be working on a brand new Potter chassis to go travel with a little bit. And let me tell you, if that brand new chassis's got any tweaks that would make that 14 car a little bit faster than what we saw at the end of the season, there's going to be some guys going to be watching out the side and in the back of their cars because they're going to see that 14 car coming after them. Just a really exciting deal there for CC.
Yeah, I think they're waiting to start on that car after they get Jared Hill's new one all done. So that'll be something that we'll look forward to watching as the year progresses as well.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot more of those chassis out at the track. Certainly, I would expect that we'll see a few more MRC chassis as well. 2 big certificates went out there at the Empire 100 from the Lap Bunny and contingency awards that John Stewart helped us collect for that race. But also all the heat winners got a gift certificate for Potter chassis as well. So that's really going to be interesting because I know there's a lot of guys switching over. We know of a few guys that are actually either sold or traded in street stocks, and we've got a little bit of a 4-cylinder brigade starting in Dundee, New York. So it's just there's all of these storylines that have kind of helped us get through the winter time. I mean, it's almost the end of December, so it won't be too much longer, and we'll be talking about Florida in February for the modifieds.
Modifieds, World of Outlaw, late model sprint cars. Happy birthday to Logan Schuhart, by the way, former Turn 5 graduate.
Yeah, and Clint, those guys are going to be headed for Arizona here not too long from now, headed down for winter heat down at the Cocopah Speedway. So Jacob and Logan both going to be headed down there.
The Cocoa Puff Speedway?
Cocopah.
Okay.
They're cuckoo for Cocopah.
I was going to say, if they're going to the Cocoa Puff Speedway, I think we could make that race.
That'd be pretty tasty, wouldn't it?
Would be nice to get a victory.
Cuckoo for Cocopah.
Instead of regular milk, we'll have to give them chocolate milk.
Oh, man.
We've gone to the Wolves tonight.
Well, let's get into a couple other news and notes. I know that we just talked to Bob Reis talking about the Grit Series. I know Bob would really love to get a grit race at Freedom. After I had heard that on social media and such, contacted Nick Stark from the Grit Series, and Bob hit the nail right on the head, talking about the Grit Series with Nick Stark. Nick echoed his thoughts. They're trying to come up with a date that would work to bring the Grit Series to Freedom. Of course, Freedom running Friday nights, that kind of conflicts with any guys that are running Friday night tracks for full-time points and such. Some other news and notes. Brad, looks like you've got some news from the World of Outlaw late models.
It did. Now, this was the episode we had Tom on. We're talking about the Weedsport Speedway, having the Outlaws back for the sprint cars. You've got the Super Dirt Car Series, and now we do have the World of Outlaw late models visiting Weedsport on Tuesday, June 23rd. So all three major series. I'm going to be back at the Weedsport Speedway this year, which, I mean, that's fantastic. I like that. And then they're going to leave Weedsport and go right down for the Firecracker. So another huge weekend. Great racetrack, Lernerville.
And what's cool, too, Brad, is not only do they have Weedsport on the 23rd of June, they're going to Fonda June 18th before they do a couple of races up in Ontario at Brighton and at Cornwall. But they'll start at Fonda, go to Brighton, go to Cornwall, and then end up at Weedsport before heading down to the Firecracker. So pretty good string of races that folks here in the Northeast can get themselves out to. And we've got more news, discussion. We've also got our 2015 Christmas wish list here on Turn 5 Live. We'll get to that and more. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Stephen, Clint, and Brad will be back with more Turn 5 Live right after these words.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your party or photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
This is Jared, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live. Thank you, Jared Hill, bringing us back from break there. And Clint, looks like we've got some more news that we were just talking about with Dylan Cece there.
Yeah, he said he's listened to the whole show and loves our show and thanks us a lot for thanks us a lot for promoting him, promoting the car, and looking forward to the season.
Yeah, he's pretty good at promoting himself.
Well,
You run that thing up front every week, you'll
That's the best
you
promotion you need right there.
That's right. You kind of sell yourself when you do that.
Well, we've had a few folks chatting back and forth with us tonight, and it's just awesome to see that interaction that we get with our listeners. And I got to tell you, a big part of this has been that transition, Clint, to Performance Motorsports Network. Just an honor to be with such a fine staff that Bob Steele and our buddy Cougar down there behind the glass, pushing the buttons, making us sound good, and it's just a really good deal, and I'm excited to get into 2015 and continue the relationship here. And we've got some folks that are going to be coming on board with the show, and this is kind of Clint. It's been just a little over a year, and this is exactly. I was just telling Dan Harpell today. This is exactly where we knew we could get to, but now we've got the oomph to do it, and the support of PMN and Race Chaser Online, and just a good deal all around. Clint, talking some more dirt track news. One thing that I wanted to get to tonight also is let's look back on 2014 before we get to our wish list. Let's look back on 2014. We've been to races all over the place. Clint, you and I started the season out at the Hard Clay Open at OCFS. We've all obviously been to Yates County, Woodhall, Canandaigua. Clint, for you,
Williams Grove.
Oh yeah, you went to Williams Grove. Yeah, absolutely. Talking about the best of, let's look at a couple of these tracks. What would you say, Clint, was one of the best races at Yates County this year?
Well, beyond it's I thought about this all day, and I couldn't come up with one. And they both happened on the same weekend. The Grit Series, or the 100 lap sportsman race on Friday night at the Empire 100 weekend, the Dutch Hogue National weekend. The sportsman race is absolutely amazing. Those guys were 4 or 5 deep. Nick Guerreri running right up front, trying to get his lap back. Actually got his lap back a couple times, but because of the way the caution fell, he wasn't able to get his lap back. Rocky Warner coming from an early race spin out, almost going a lap down himself, running back up through the field to win the race. And then, of course, the Empire 100 on Saturday was by far one of the best street stock races they had all year long. That was 3 or 4 cars battling for the lead for all those 100 laps. It was just, fitting that the best races of the year were on the biggest stage.
Brad, how about you? I know you spent your season working on the ambulance and the safety crew at Yates County. What race stood out to you this year?
If I had to pick one, I think I would say the Empire 100 as my number one. And of course, like Clint said, I mean, there's just been so many of them. The 2 modified races, Vic Coffey winning the one and Alan Johnson winning the other one, the second one. I mean, that was huge to me because you've got a modified race and you've got a couple big names that are synonymous with big block modified racing. Plus, Derek Pozziadlo in the second big block race. I mean, we were watching him from the ambulance. Carmen and I were watching him from the ambulance. He was running around the outside, just like just like Matt Shepard, just like any of the other guys were doing, and he was hauling. I think he ended up with a 4th or 5th place run that night, but he started pretty deep in the pack. But I mean, he had a car that was hooked up, moving to the front, and just unfortunately didn't have the time and just the lap traffic. But if I was going to pick one, the Empire 100 obviously was the kind of the coup de grace of the season for me. And it just, I mean, the race didn't disappoint. Last 3 laps to go, we saw how many different leaders. And I have to say, with the throwing in the tire wear in there, the halfway mark with some of the big guys going and getting tires and still coming back up and finishing strong. And there was nothing compares.
And all the hard work that was put into that race, not only the drivers, the crew at the track, and not to toot our own horn, but we did a lot for that too. And I think that helped the drivers out. And I think that made it that much more prestigious, for all the guys, with every little bit helps. And I think that, I think that overall it was just a great weekend for everybody.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can't say enough for Dan and his boys and all the track staff to run a 2-night race event, a Friday, Saturday night event like that. I mean, that was fantastic. We had a great track both nights, and just all the hard work all year long. Just, you can't say enough.
I'm going to give you guys a couple races to chew on that I thought stood out. I mean, certainly the Empire 100 was great, but you guys spoke about that. I'm going to give you a couple races here. Alan Johnson putting a whooping on the field. I mean, he lapped up into the top 10 of the field on Friday night.
7th or 8th place, I think, yeah.
It just put on a show during the Empire 100 weekend, and that was a great race to watch. Actually was green to checkered, and extended his winning streak to 40 years, having won a feature event. So that was big. But the other race that really stood out to me, and what a huge night this was, championship night. Although the sportsman race was pretty good, I loved the street stock race on championship night. Jeremy Petrobowski, Chuck Winslow duking it out for the championship. And Petrobowski had to come from the back of the field. We ended up finding out that they had a radiator cap that wasn't tight on the car. Had problems in the heat. Chuck Winslow goes out and wins his heat race, gains max points on Jeremy. And then to start the feature, when they took the green flag, Winslow had the points lead, and Jeremy drove his way up through the field, avoided an accident in turn 2 that to this day, Jeremy will tell you, he still doesn't know how he got through that accident without hitting anything. That race to me was just that. It gives me goosebumps talking about it right now. I mean, the points lead changed hands 3 times during that race. And I was sitting there crunching the numbers best I could, feeding information to the booth and everything. It was exciting to follow, and that is a race there at Yates that's going to stand out to me as we reminisce here in the off season. Let's transition a little bit. Clint, I'm going to give you a choice. We got Woodhall, Canandaigua, or any other track that you've been to this year. Give us another race that stood out to you as being awesome in 2014.
I think another race that I really, I thought was one of the best races that I had seen at the time was a big block race at Canandaigua between it was Steve Payne, Gary Tompkins, Billy Dunn, and Matt Shepard, and they were all, they exchanged it through the top 6. I don't know. I don't think that the running order was the same for 35 laps, and I think there was only one caution. So I would have to say that was another one that was that's tops on my list. For a track that I don't go to as often as I'd like to, but they always seem to put on a good show for Jeremy over there at Canandaigua.
How about you, Brad?
I'd have to say going to Canandaigua, I wouldn't pinpoint it to one race, but just this year for big block racing over at Canandaigua, just to see, you had Matt Shepard winning races, you had Billy Dunn winning races, of course, again, and just to see Steve Payne, Gary Tompkins, Matt Billings coming away with wins, just
Hig
Fab. The showing of Hig Fab coming up and making their presence known. I think Steve Payne and Gary Tompkins, between the two of them, I think had 3 or 4 wins, and those 3 or 4 wins were, I think, within 4 or 5 races.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really good to go to a racetrack and see, 2 or 3 guys battle for a championship, but I like going to a track and seeing 8 or 10, 12, 15 big names and seeing 10, 12, 15 of them win a race during the season. I mean, that to me is just well worth the admission that you're ever going to pay to get in the place.
Want to give a shout out here to the Yates County Speedway photographer who's listening in tonight. He's talking to us on Twitter here at Curtis Burlew 51. Turn 5 podcast, best racing I saw this season was the heat races for the Outlaw 200 at Fulton Speedway. And I'll tell you what, Curtis is absolutely right. Those races were hellacious to watch. Those guys were throwing bumpers, beating and banging because the top two drivers out of those heat races, and there were 10, 11 car heat races, only the top two made it to the redraw. And I believe it was top 3 or 4 that even qualified to the 200. And those were pretty exciting races. Curtis is right on there. And again, for any photography needs that you have or pictures that you'd like to get from the 2014 season at Yates County Speedway, be sure to look up Curtis at curtisburlewphotography.com. I want to thank him for listening in tonight. We've got more to talk about. We'll wrap up our favorite races of 2014 coming up, as well as our 2015 Christmas wish list for the dirt tracks. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network.
On the other side of the break, more coverage and discussion from the dirt tracks. Stay tuned to Turn 5 Live.
How would you like to win a brand new Corvette? Larry O's got all the details.
Enter America's #1 dream car giveaway contest at winyournewcar.com. That's right, winyournewcar.com. Complete the puzzle the fastest and win a new Corvette tax-free delivered to your door. Come on, stop dreaming and start driving with winyournewcar.com.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
So you finally arrived at the sweet spot in your life. The kids are raised and gone. You have free time, and it's finally time to do something for you. If you've ever considered owning a Corvette but have been putting it off for years, now is the time to act. Isn't this the time to finally get that Corvette you always wanted and drooled and dreamed over? Well, grab the little lady by the hand and take her to Cooper Corvettes. They're conveniently located on Route 1 just off of I-95 and just north of the Marine Corps base. They have lots of pampered and well-maintained Corvettes in inventory. And if they don't have what you want, they'll find it. From classic Stingrays to modern-day cars, Cooper is your one-stop shop. And speaking of shops, they service what they sell. And even if you didn't buy a Cooper Corvette, they'll service your Corvette anyway. Become part of the Cooper Corvette family. Call them at 703-445-1483. That's 703-445-1483. And on the web at coopercorvettes.com. That's coopercorvettes.com, American pride and countrywide.
You wouldn't trust your taxes to an uncertified accountant, so why trust your vehicle to an uncertified technician? When you have to take your car into the shop, look for the blue and white ASE sign. That ASE blue seal means the shop employs technicians certified by the National Institute for Automotive Service Excellence. ASE certification is proof that technicians have the knowledge and experience to fix your vehicle right the first time. For more information on finding an ASE Blue Seal of Excellence facility, visit the website at www.ase.com.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ and photo booth of Turn 5 Live. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are sure to provide you with the very best DJ and photo booth entertainment on the market in the Finger Lakes. Call Stu at 315-481-9700 or CreeksideEntertainmentDJ.com. Book your part of your photo booth with Creekside Entertainment today.
This is Rich Sharpstein, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Getting ready to wrap up our last episode of 2014 here, coming to you live from the Casa de Pork Chop Studios here in Penn Can. Clint, we've got more folks chiming in on this best race of 2014, and somebody just chimed in on our Facebook page and said they thought the best race of 2014 was Tyler Dipple and Danny Johnson running for a win down at the World Finals and the dirt track at Charlotte. And I got to say, I can't I can't say I disagree too much with them because those guys were running door to door for lap after lap until Dipple finally jumped the cushion and Danny drove on by. But I can't get over how much good racing we saw this season. Not just freight train racing, not guys following the leader and everything. One race that comes to mind actually is it was a late model race I saw down at Woodhall, Clint. The last BRP race for the BRP Can-Am Late Model Series that will be run for their series. John Waters ended up getting the win, but the action in lap traffic was really exciting. And I know a guy that we've talked to a few times on the show, Jared Hill, he was coming up through the field, and he had a car just as good as John Waters had that night. And had all the yellow flags not come out so late in the race, who knows what would have happened later on there. But just good racing all around this season, and I can't wait for this coming year.
Yeah, I think it's left nothing but bright spots and high hopes, and for our wish list too. There's a lot of things that we'd like to see, and we hope come true. And whatever happens, we're going to go to the races and we're going to watch more good racing.
That we will. And now let's transition to our last segment of the night, and we're going to talk about Christmas wish lists as far as racing goes for 2015. Had a lot of folks chime in on our Facebook post today, and we're going to read those off and have a little fun here. So we asked fans, what's on your racing wish list for 2015? Post your wishes in the comments, and we'll read off our favorites on the air tonight. And one of them came from the announcer from the Woodhall Raceway, Paul Harkenreiter. He says, my 2015 racing wish is to interview 50 different feature winners at the Woodhall Raceway. They had 40. Well, listen to this, Clint. They had 42 in 2013 and 45 in 2014. He says it can happen. And I got to tell you, when you look at those numbers, 42 and then 45, he's absolutely right. That could happen.
Boy, I never would have guessed, to be really honest with you. I never would have guessed that would have happened. I'm impressed. So, yeah, hearing those numbers, it's definitely in the realm of possibility.
I mean, look at the late model division. How many feature wins did John Waters get this year at Woodhall early on in the season? I mean, you take a couple first-time winners and maybe a guy that just gets that one race win for the season, no doubt about it. That could absolutely happen next year.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Looking down through the list, we've got some other folks that chimed in with us. We got Rick Prairie from Team Habita. He says that everyone have a safe and healthy 2015 Habita style. Way too many lives cut short this past racing season, and that's for sure. That's for sure. Adam Del Grosso, actually, the track champion for the front-wheel drives down at Woodhall, also had the same sentiments. He said, a safe year in 2015, none of the racing family leaving us too soon. And certainly everybody's still thinking about the Baker family on the loss of Ron Baker this past week. And
now, would you like to read Mr. Head Flag or Steve Kellogg's comment, or shall I?
Oh, I'll leave it up to you there, producer man. I'll go ahead and read it. I don't mind.
Do it.
We got a post from Steve Kellogg today saying
the most liked.
I wish Rolling Wheels Raceway would actually tell us what is going on instead of playing games. We were told a while back they would announce officials, and as of yet, no word. And that was the most liked comment on the post. And you know what?
It's true.
It is true. We know that Mike Emhoff, we know that Rich Fleck is going to be there. But that's really all we know. We know that they're looking at running Thursday nights, but that's really about it. I mean, certainly, Clint, their trivia has been on fire this off season, but when it comes down to it, I know the race fans are loving that, but with some of the things that they came out with on their social media page before Rich and Mike Emhoff were announced as being staff at the racetrack, they were throwing around some pretty big dollars as far as what the point fund would be, what the purse would be at their big events. And since then, we haven't heard a thing. So, I know that we'll hear more in the future, but I don't think that Steve's post here on our Facebook page goes unnoticed.
And of course, we got Kevin Ridley here, who's going to be running the Troyer Cup. Says he's looking for 20 wins, a new frame and body. So a Troyer Cup, I think, is going to be big this year. A lot of guys getting ready for it. Some new Troyers coming out. I think I saw Nick's got his new Troyer coming, and I believe it was Ray Hendershot.
Ray Hendershot took his existing
Troyer and had it updated to the new
TD2
updates. So a lot of good stuff coming out from Troyer, and I think we're going to see a lot of good racing. Of course, we've got the Backyard Gang coming out with the 4-banger posse this year. I believe they've got 3 coming out of their stalls this year, so I think they're going to be a big one to watch.
Might even be 4. They had the 77 car, that blue car.
Oh yes.
Now they've got Richie's going to have Flying X. Got Ashley's going to have a car, and Jeremy Trank has bought that 33 car. So
I'm kind of curious if the 77 is Ashley's car or not. We'll have to check on that. No,
it's not. It's still on the trailer here in Dundee. It's Dave Wathen's driving that.
See, there we go. Inside information only here on Turn 5 Live.
But we want to thank everybody for putting in on that and a lot of good ideas and hopes.
Actually, Ashley's car is a former track champion car. It used to be Jeremy Petrobowski's 4-cylinder way back when, and then it went to the Winslows, and now it's gone on to the Backyard Gang.
Well, I know that they've been doing their chop cut rebuild. I've enjoyed watching their photo updates, doing their chassis updates, getting everything tightened up for the 2015 season. It's just it's awesome to see, and like we talked about with Dan Clint, I think that dirt track racing is on the rise. If you've ever wanted to be a part of it, even if it's sponsoring a car, shameless plug, sponsoring Turn 5 Live, going to the races, following a series, picking a driver, and going to all the races that they run at. Clint, I don't think that we've seen this kind of momentum in more than a few years.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You said it the best. It's the momentum is gaining strength, and it's going to roll tide.
Yeah, roll tide. Here we go.
Looking forward.
We are moving forward with Turn 5 Live in 2015. Like we mentioned off the top of the show, we are going to be taking a break here for a couple of weeks for Christmas and for New Year's. Our first show will be first Tuesday in January, and that is going to be January 6th. We'll be back here Tuesday, January 6th, 7:30 p.m., right here on the Performance Motorsports Network.
And should we share what we're working on?
Yeah, we'll give you a little tease of what we're working on. Our first show of 2015, we are working on a safety seminar. We've made contact with the vice president of Hans Performance Manufacturing. We're going to talk to Gary, who's the vice president there from Hans. Clint is actually working on getting us in touch with the owner of the Joy of Seating, Randy LaJoy. So we're going to try and put all these guys together that have something to do with motorsport safety, and specifically as we look at it on the dirt tracks. So want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoy your holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays from everybody here at Turn 5 Live. For Clint Miller, Brad Ovens, Tom Baker, everybody at Race Chaser Online, and the Performance Motorsports Network, I'm your host, Steve Ovens, saying Happy Holidays, everybody. We'll see you on Tuesday, January 6th.
5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners.